Hey, hello, can you hear me?
I can't hear nothing. Nada. Technical difficulties at its finest. I'm gonna try you on my computer one more time.
Still nothing. Why? Oh, I have it. Oh, I can hear you. How's it going? Can you hear me? Oh, did you? Yeah? I'm running a test. That was on my side, how the device was disabled or something. I ran a quick scan and it says fixed now. So it might have been on my... I was updating Windows yesterday, you see?
See, that's what happens with software.
Can you try again on your mobile phone? Because I have the visuals way better on your on when you were on your phone.
So you just want to do it on my phone and not on the computer?
Yeah, try that. Unless you're recording yourself on your phone now.
Yeah, I am. I'm recording myself right now. See, I'm waving.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. I'm just gonna switch the record on Skype now, so I get your audio.
That's weird that the video on the computer or laptop isn't as good as the phone, because it's a MacBook Pro. Is there something I can set that makes it look better?
More light, if you could, maybe more light. Shine on yourself. Do you have
More
any
light?
more lights? Yeah.
Hold on, let me turn on more lights. It is dark here. Is that better?
Yeah, better.
Now you can see me. It's still dark. The sun hasn't even really come up. It's starting to come up right now.
Yeah, I wanted to say that the biggest time difference I've ever spoke to anyone, like it's 10 hours, like, you know, it's 6 a.m. and versus 4 p.m. now, like, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an early bird, so it's no big deal to me.
Streets just the other night, reciting Friends by Houdini, what a lovely sight. I had to join in, so I picked my spot. I ripped the second verse like my mic was high. No time to rehearse, but the flow came nice. My man broke down the third just as cool as ice. It came to an end, but the moment would last. Two old school junks bringing back the past. He looked me in the eye, gave me daps, I'm out. Strolled off in the night, I gave him one last shout. Stood still for a minute, made my way. Thankful for the chance, I won't forget that day. No price to pay, just something so true. It's not what you say, but rather what you do. You never know where you're going if you don't look back. Hold it tight like a fist for it fades to black. Got a relic, best to keep it true. A ticket to the past, it can bring you to a relic. They come far in view. Remember what you do, it comes back on you. A relic, best to keep it true. Ticket to the past, it can bring you to a relic. They come far in view. Remember what you do, it comes back.
Pleasure talking to you, man.
Oh man, yeah, no doubt.
Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah. I saw the one with the Big Six and stuff, and I was like, oh.
I consider it looking for friends rather than the podcast.
Why not? Yeah.
How's Hawaii living, man?
Hawaii's, man, it's like I've been here since last April, yeah. Coming on a year. My wife lives here, so came time to one of us needs to relocate. She's got her own CPA firm company here. So it was a lot easier for me to just relocate here, but like I said, it's a trip. Like we'll be going different places, and I've never been to Hawaii before I moved here, so seeing all the different sites and stuff, it still trips me out. I'm originally I was born and raised in South Dakota. The Hope City. Shout out to Aberdeen. Yeah. So I grew up there and then went to college in Moorhead, Minnesota. And that's where I got my teaching degree and everything like that. And that's kind of where life started happening. And I started teaching in Minnesota, and then I've lived all over the place. I moved around a lot, but we can get into that because there's kind of a part of the story that goes with all that.
You told me that your mom comes from Ireland, is it?
Well, yeah, I got roots from Ireland. She's not like originally from Ireland, but her ancestors and stuff were from Ireland, and she grew up in South Dakota too. Mitchell. She passed away in 2001.
Oh, and, sorry for your loss.
Yeah, that's all right. And so yeah, she came from Mitchell, and then she was a teacher in Aberdeen for many years.
All right, never heard about Aberdeen, man. Where is that? I will have to look it on the map, man.
Look it up, the hub city. Yeah, I mean it's a town, it's a city, I guess you could call it, like in the northeast corner of the state of South Dakota. Kind of in the middle of nowhere, about 30,000 people, but I like living there. It was a basketball town, basketball hotbed, so that's where the love of basketball for me came from. But yeah, I loved growing up there. It was not too small, not too big, so it was nice.
And I've seen your dog. What's the story with your dog? What's his name? Solo, is it? Is he around?
Yeah, he's laying right, he's out. Here, let me turn the phone around. I don't know if you'll be able to see him. There he is right there.
How old is he?
He's 6 years old. 7 maybe. Cane Corso, Italian Mastiff.
My one only got lived to 4, and I'd say it was just a vet. You know, it was a misdiagnosis. Can you see him?
Yeah, I got it.
He was lovely pup, man. Really, really well, slob, like, you know, big slob. I'm actually really happy that you reached out. You know, really happy, man. Really happy.
No doubt. I saw that, like I said, I saw the one with Big Six, and I was like, oh, that's a cool setup. They got a good little conversation. So I was like, let me reach out to this guy, and we'll do our own little interview.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. So going back to Hawaii, any water sports or any activities that you're doing there now?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not a big, I don't surf. I'm not a big fisherman. I don't do any of that. When I grew up, I just grew up playing basketball. Like literally, I was in the YMCA. If I wasn't in school or at home sleeping, I was at the YMCA hooping and working out and stuff. So that was my thing. So I was kind of, I'm not saying I missed out, 'cause I don't feel like I missed out. That was what I chose to do. So, but when it comes to like fishing and hunting and all that, which a lot of people did, a lot of my friends did, you know, hunting, we had guns in the back of their trucks, and that's just what you do. But me, I was always hooping. So yeah, here in Hawaii now, I see this, I'll watch. I mean, I got no problem watching surfers, but I'm not going to get out there. I might jet ski.
Are there sharks? Do they have sharks?
Yeah, there's sharks. You can see them right outside the studio here. You can see whales and dolphins, and yeah, it's a trip. That's like I said, like I still every day I wake up and I look outside, and it's like you see something new.
You became a teacher. Was that your goal from the start, or it just happened, or was the story
Not
there?
really. Like I said, my mom was a teacher. For over 30 years. She retired in Aberdeen, and when I went to college, you know, I just went to play hoops, and I didn't even really know what I wanted to do. When you first start out, it's like, you know, your freshman and sophomore year, it feels like high school, because you're taking all your generals, and then you're supposed to declare a major by your junior year. So I just declared PE. So that's what like I said, I was in the gym. I was a gym rat. So that kind of appealed to me. But I didn't really plan on becoming a teacher until even after I graduated. So I graduated college with a PE degree. I mean, I became like a personal trainer and stuff for a year. And then I realized, man, I should have just taken that extra year to get my, student teaching and education stuff out of the way. But I was impatient like most kids. You want to get done and start your life. So yeah, then I finally got my teaching degree and took off from there and it was like 97, 98 when I student taught. And then I got my first teaching job, 98, 99. So
what do you teach? PE, what's
physical
PE?
education. Oh, my bad.
All right, got you now, yeah.
No pain, no gain.
I'm not that familiar with American systems, so yeah.
No, I loved it. I could show up and, I get to wear my shorts and my Jordans every day and not have to get all dressed up. So I still got to be a jock and...
Winners never quit. Quitters never win.
Be with the kids, which I loved. That was always something I'd like to do, leading kids and everything. So it appealed to me and made it work.
It is never okay to put butter on a donut.
People look at PE teachers and oh, you're not a real teacher. That's not a real subject. I get it. They call us like little knuckle draggers, but it's I challenge anyone to go try to teach anyone to go to any class with 50, 60, 70 kids in a class. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of management, a lot of leadership, a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, I loved it.
Turns out gym class will determine how society views us for the rest of our lives.
Do you watch the Goldbergs?
The Goldbergs, the TV show? No.
Yeah.
You were the only one who made him take his future seriously.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what a halfway decent coach does.
The PE guy or girl or woman, they're easy to clown on. You get the guy that coach with the tight shorts on and the whistle and the socks pulled up, and yeah, I get it.
More than a coach. Gym dad.
Yeah, no, the actor, I don't remember his name now, but yeah, he goes on to Joe Rogan show quite often.
I went immediately to the douchebag singer voice, the whispery.
They are friends, like, you know, with Joe Rogan. Like, he's a funny guy, right?
Damn you, Goldbergs. You always know how to hit me in my biggest muscle.
So let's move on to music. Tell me how your passion for music, where that came from.
Man, I think it was my mom. I mean, my mom was like, she was an elementary teacher, but she always had music playing, and she was always, you know, a record player, listening to like Nat King Cole and Elvis. She had a, you know, Luther Vandross and all that stuff, and that rubs off on you when you hear it all the time. And then for me, as far as like my passion for hip hop, and that started when I was about 5th grade, like 1983, when one of my best friends at the time, he was like a father figure to me, Gary Martin. Shout out to Gary. He'll be watching this. But he introduced me. He was from Michigan, and he was going to college in Aberdeen. And we met at the YMCA. And he was like 10 years older than me, and he started giving me rides home and whatnot. And he was listening. He had this music playing in his car. Never heard it before. You know, you're in Aberdeen, South Dakota. And in '83, when hip hop's just starting to kind of circulate, it's definitely not circulating in South Dakota, but he put in a tape, and it was Houdini.
Be with some because they're funny. Others come around when they need some money.
And I'll never forget. It stays in my head, like the song Friends.
Some you grew up with around the way, and you're still real close to this very day.
I'm like, man, what is that? He started making me mixtapes of, you know, Houdini and Grandmaster Flash.
I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car.
You know, Curtis Blow and
West Coast, East Coast, hot buzz host with the utmost.
Sugar, all that stuff from back in the day, and that's when I got hooked. It was just the hooks got sunk in, and ever since then I was just been a big hip hop head, b-boy, and it hasn't left me. I remember people telling me, "Oh, that's just a phase. You'll break out of it." Shoot, I'm still, as you know, I'm still doing it. So
Lost dreams, shattered chalice, frozen faith, heart full of malice. Back to the spot where it all started. Highly regarded when you dearly departed. Fly like an eagle, cry like a dove. Tears from the sky, lost your love. Push and shove, time to scramble. Out of pocket, take your gamble. Listen to the wise, lesson learned. Hot like coal, feel the burn. Take your turn, rise again. Build your base, face your friend. Make amends while you still got time. Make a choice while you still got shine. Flip a coin, heads or tails. Set sail, let the wind prevail.
And as far as like the making music and whatnot, that didn't start until, what was it, like 2001 maybe? It was right after my mom passed away, and I bought my first MPC, 2000 XL, and then that's when I started making these beats too. How do they do this? And so I started researching stuff and got my first MPC, and slowly got my turntables and did all that. And it's just kind of evolved since then.
Do you listen to other genres just to get yourself like inspired, or you just listen to hip hop?
Yeah, of course. I have a twin brother, TJ. He's a drummer. Like we're twins, but we're totally opposites as far as our music taste goes. He likes metal and stuff. I'm into hip hop, but he's a great drummer. I remember back in like, what was it? Probably like the mid '90s. The soundtrack. I don't know if I'm probably aging myself. There's a soundtrack called Judgment Night.
You're just another victim. You're just another victim, kid.
For a movie, Judgment Night, and they merged hip hop and rock music. And it was like this mashup.
Judgment Night soundtrack features 15 gold and platinum artists, including House of Pain, Run DMC, Sonic Youth, Faith No More, and Pearl Jam.
In hip hop, man, hip hop is you sample. That's how they do it. So you sample stuff and you take different genres. So for me, I can listen to R&B and jazz and blues, and yeah, I can listen to anything. So yeah.
Nice one. Yeah, I love rock connected with hip hop. Like, you know, to me that's the best. Like, well, all the music really. Like, I love all type of music.
I was gonna say though, talking about like rock and stuff, and you listen to like Run DMC's Rock Box.
Now, what is rap music? What has nothing to do with music? What is a unit of measure?
And they got that solid, heavy guitar sample in there. Probably not even a sample. And that's when I was like, man, that blew me away. And then so you fast forward to like 91 and 92 when Cypress Hill. And shout out to Soul Assassins and all those guys, a big influence on me too. But they had a way of like merging Muggs, who on the production had an awesome way of like merging rock and all this other sorts of stuff. Yeah, that's the beauty of hip hop. You can take anything and flip it and make it your own sound. So yeah, that's it. I love that stuff. And shout out to House of Pain, as you can see in my cup right here.
Hey, scooping up the loot, put us cause on the run, pull my gun and then I shoot.
I was just looking at the last question here, like, did you listen to his new songs?
Oh yeah, I listen to everything he puts out.
Love is kind, love is cold, love is rare.
I mean, he started out with Ice-T, you know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Ice-T's Rhyme Syndicate.
It's coming through. Rhyme Syndicate. Coming through. Rhyme Syndicate.
You know, before he was ever the dude on Jump Around and doing House of Pain and stuff. So yeah, huge influence on me.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin.
Wait a minute. Dope new styles of rhyme, I break science. Down with the rhyme, sing the Kid Alliance.
And they made it a little different for, you know, white dudes. I mean, there was, you know, you had the Beastie Boys. And you had Third Base.
You said I didn't have it, that I couldn't compete. But the sleeper did sleep, cause the sleeper should've woke up.
You know, maybe a few others out there, but then House of Pain comes out and they just had a different vibe. They weren't like apologizing for anything. You know, a lot of the white rappers that came out, they were almost apologetic for being white and had to like, you know, tiptoe around the fact of it. But they just came out and punched you right in the face with the fact we're white, we're not ashamed of it or anything like that. They were Irish, whatever. But yeah, when they opened the door for a lot of white cats that, you know, maybe felt like embarrassed or ashamed, and then it was okay. Bring it. Shamrocks and shenanigans.
For the ride, I can't go inside. I'd rather that I die. I got too much pride. I guess it's just something that you can't understand. My gun's in my hand. Tell me who's the man.
What about the new hip hop today?
You could name an artist right now, and I wouldn't even. I don't know. I'm clueless. I mean, shout out to all of them. I don't know, but I don't listen to it. I listen to. I'm the old man sitting in his rocking chair right now. It's like the good old days. So yeah, I guess give me my early 80s or late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I was wanted to say about your new track that you just dropped yesterday. Like an old proper rap, you know, from 90s, like, you know, and, yeah, savage, man.
I played it for my wife after I got it all set up, and she's like, it sounds old. It sounds old and dusty. And I'm like, well, that's what that's the sound it's supposed to sound like. And she's like, oh, then it sounds good.
Nice.
So she has a good ear. She helps me out with even when I first came out with the first mix of that song or any of my songs, she'll be like, ooh, the vocals need to be turned down, or this needs to be turned up, or so then I'll come back up to the lab and fix it and make it a little bit better. She's got a good ear for that stuff.
You know what that's about?
Yeah, having enough time.
Enough time to do what you want to do.
That's right.
You're doing it now.
No, not yet.
Disrupt the scene, stop fiending, corrupt the team, start screaming, get caught in your own ambition. Ego is the enemy, should've listened. We can't learn if we can't be taught. We can't steal if it can't be bought. It ain't a crime if you don't get caught. Thought you had it figured out, like it or not. Life will bite your back, put up a fight. Take it like a man, turn out the light. Punch drunk with the black eye, round for round. Knock you down, get back up, pound for pound. How you like me now, how you like me then. Therapy in the pen, back again. One time for your mind, two time for your soul. Get back on the line, take control.
Tell me, do you have like your mentor or someone you go and you learn from? Your little techniques of sampling or making beats or that?
I don't know if there's like anyone in particular. Like I said, I've name dropped like Muggs, Alchemist, Marco Polo, Jake One, Premier, those guys. I mean, the beauty with YouTube now is like a lot of those guys will, drop live stuff or do stuff on the gram, and so you can always keep up with stuff and learn and just by listening. But as far as this like, watching tutorials and stuff, I'm really not, I don't really do that much, but I just listen to what I listen to and pick up things. But in today's day and age, you just go on YouTube or you go on, everything is right there at your fingertips. I can't even imagine, like when I got my MPC 2000 XL, and this is again like in 2000, I think, I didn't have a clue. I just turned it on and you just start messing with it. I don't even remember having a manual. I bought it off somebody, and I don't think I had a manual. It's not like they had the YouTube or anything. We had the MPC4. I was even young, so we had cats I would work with and, chop it up with and do little mixtapes with here and there. So, and I'm still cool with some of them now. So, yeah, it's kind of a cool little family you create when you make music.
I can see it's getting brighter behind you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can see the sun now. It's popping up. Solo sleeping and a little view of the outdoors. Yeah, 'cause it's getting that time now where the sun's shining.
So you're always getting up at 3 a.m. What time you go to bed then?
Oh, well, I go to bed like probably... Hold on, I go to bed anyway, sometimes 7, sometimes 8. Usually no later than 9.
That early, yeah?
Yeah, and then I'm up at 3. I get a lot of stuff done at 3 in the morning, though. I get up, I shave and do my thing and work out, walk the dog, come downstairs, clean up, cook, whatever. And then when I'm done, it's not like barely 6 o'clock and people are still sleeping. You can get a lot of stuff done. Yeah, that's when I do, like, even with my music, that's when I carve out time to make music. And is it early in the morning when nobody's up, everybody's sleeping, can't even see outside. I come up here and that's when I start making stuff.
So how do you make your music? Do you start with sample, or you start with drums or bass line?
Always samples. I always samples. Like everything's like, vinyl or in YouTube. Love going on YouTube, and you can't go to the record store. You can find a record right on YouTube, and there's a lot of cool sites where you can just find obscure stuff that nobody knows about. And I'll just listen or just dig. I call it, digging in the crates, but you can dig on YouTube too. And then I'll start with a sample, and I'll start chopping and drums, but everything's sample based. I just do it, keep it simple.
Andreas on the cuts. Season on the mic. Just doing it old school. Just a crusty old mic. Turntables. in a looped up beat. Nothing more, nothing less. No need for critique. Well, if Jesus is your Lord, then praise your God. And if Islam's your thing, Allahu Akbar. And if you represent the six-pointed star, well then my he's back home told me say shalom. I put grooves in the mix, make moves like the Knicks, take it straight up the lane, block out the frame, then I freeze it, believes it, you needs it like heroin. Before you get your fight on, kid, get your stare on and come to Don Dada, making ghettos red hotter. Drop the boom bada like Jake LaMotta. I can single you out, isolate you like mono. I'm undefeated like Rocky Marciano. Hit you right below the belt, now you're singing soprano. Talk what you talk, still you don't know what I know. Some feed for ass, some feed for cash. Some do the knowledge, some do the math. Some stick to the road, some stray from the path. Some do the knowledge, some do the math. What's up, Smooth? Destruct. Can't forget about my man Vaccine. Dr. Lek. Chrono Beats. Ill Treats. TikTok, you don't stop. And anyone else I might have forgot. Prodigy. I can't think anymore. No, you young cats out there, educate yourself. 1983, 84, 85. Do what you gotta do, but listen up. One love. It's like that. You don't stop.
Let's move on. What books you read to motivate you? What books? What inspired you in your life the most? Except the music.
48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. All his books, 48 Laws of Power, Mastery, Laws of Human Nature, Art of Seduction, all those books. The 50th Law, he wrote, him and 50 Cent collaborated on. All his books, shout out to Robert Greene. I could reread those books all the time. I'm big into Stoicism, so like Ryan Holiday's got a trio of books, The Obstacle is the Way, Stillness is the Key, The Daily Stoic, Marcus Aurelius, Sun Tzu, Art of War, Miyamoto Musashi, The Book of Five Rings. I could go on and on. I'm kind of a book nerd. I like reading, but all those kind of things. I like ancient stuff. Like you read Marcus Aurelius, and this dude was like a Roman emperor, and the stuff he writes is still, holds true today. I was like, man, that cat, he was thinking of this stuff back then. So yeah, it's been Sun Tzu's, like I said, The Art of War, and Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching that's another one. It's like, wow, these guys were on it.
Do you meditate?
That's a good question, because that's something that I got into 5, 6, 7 years ago after I was, and we'll probably touch on it, but after, as I was recovering, my bout of alcoholism and all that kind of thing, I got into mindfulness meditation. But I didn't really know what it was. It was before it was like kind of like the buzzword mindfulness. Then it became kind of a thing that you'd hashtag and stuff. But I do it. Yeah, I do it. To answer your question simply, yeah, I do it. I try to do it every day.
As you touched on your story, you want to share that a little bit of
yeah.
You had some hardships. What you told me. I know it's nothing easy to talk about, but sometimes it's just easier to get out of your chest, and maybe you're gonna help someone.
Yeah, that's how that's kind of how I started the podcast. Yeah, I can take you back. It was like I mentioned that my mom passed away in 2001, and it happened suddenly. It happened out of nowhere over Christmas break. Went home to see her and did our Christmas thing. Christmas. January 3rd. You don't have a book, or no one teaches you how to contend with that kind of stuff. Addiction and alcoholism. My dad was an alcoholic, and he wasn't really in my life. He left us when we were 3 years old, so he wasn't someone that was involved with our lives. I always knew that he had a drinking problem. He's an alcoholic, and on both sides of my family, it ran in the family. So it was something I didn't even drink until I was out of college, like senior year of college maybe. So it was something I was against, and I knew the damage it could do. Then you fast forward to 2001 when that happened, and I just started, and it was something I did by myself. It wasn't like I wouldn't go out and party. I wouldn't go out and let loose. It was just like, oh, let me go home and have a glass of wine and put myself to sleep. No harm, no foul. Well, you fast forward, and that glass of wine turns into 2 glasses into 3. Next thing you know, you're finishing off a bottle before bed, and then you're in a slippery slope. And then you fast forward to like 2007 and 2008 and those years, and it's a daily thing for me now. And I know in the back of my mind, I've got a problem. I'm trying to hide it. Now you're trying to hide things, and you're trying to cover things up, and now you're losing jobs, and you're losing relationships, and before you know it, the wheels have fallen off. And I go into rehab. What was it, 2008? I went into rehab. I spent time in detox. Before that, like 8 days in detox, and then I go to rehab and get myself clean, and it was a great thing for me. And then I spend a year clean and sober, but then I relapsed. And I remember in rehab, man, they told you, I remember this speaker, I don't even remember his name but I remember he said something like, he was talking to all of us in rehab, and he said something like, only a couple of you guys are going to stay sober. The rest of you guys are going to relapse. And when you do relapse, you're not going to start from ground zero. You're going to pick up right where you left off. And I remember after he said that, I was like, yeah, well, that's not going to be me. I'm stronger than that. It happened, and I relapsed after a year, and he was telling the truth, because I picked up right where I left off, and you lose jobs, you lose everything really. And then it ended up putting me in the hospital in 2011. I was hospitalized for like a month and a half. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I was pissing out of a catheter. I had people were taking care of me. It was in ICU. It was a mess. And I remember I got out of the hospital, it was July, and I spent another few months just trying to, the doctors told me I'd never be able to live by myself again, and I would have to have someone take care of me, and I would have to have help. I would never be quote unquote normal again. And that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, but then you fast forward from that July when I got out, it took about another 3 or 4 months. And pretty soon my shakes, except my hands used to shake all the time. Even when I got out, my speech wasn't very good still. I couldn't hear right. It felt like I had water in my ear all the time. And man, one day I woke up and it was gone. And that's when I started working again and started getting back on my feet and feeling like, man, I can do this on my own. And now, I mean, I could keep going. You can ask questions or whatever, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man, proud that you got out, man, and you stretch yourself up, Let me ask you, how did you end up in the hospital? Was that just because drinking alcohol, or you had like an accident or something?
Well, it was a little bit of both. I was working at a group home for at-risk kids. That was one of the things I did, and I lost that job because I was, calling in, and I was drinking. And at that point, I ran out of money. I ran out of resources. So, I was drinking anything that had alcohol in it. I was drinking mouthwash. I was drinking, cough medicine. And there was a gas station right by my apartment where I was living, and I remember I got to go get something, because when you're that deep into it, you're not drinking to catch a buzz. You're drinking to stay alive. You're drinking to keep the seizures and the DTs away, the withdrawals, because that'll kill you. And that's all I was trying to do. And I just remember trying to walk to the store I don't know how I was going to get it, but I ended up I couldn't even walk straight. I fell and I hit my head. It was right in the middle of the street. And the next thing I know, I was at the police station in the drunk tank. They're trying to sober me up, and I remember I don't know how long I was there, but when they finally told me I had to blow in the little thing, and they said, well, you're sober. Well, I couldn't even stand up. Like, I knew something was wrong, and they let me out, but there was a hospital right across the street, and I remember I had to crawl across the street to the hospital, and the next thing I know, I don't remember much of anything. I know my brother was there, and that was hard for him, and other close friends, my friend Brett and Corbel and those guys, shout out to them. But unfortunately, I don't remember a lot of my first stay in the hospital. Like I said, I was there for a month and a half, but a lot of it was in ICU, and probably them trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. It was, my brain, so yeah, that's how I ended up there.
What would be your advice for someone who's struggling now with addiction?
Get help, reach out. But that's also the catch-22, is because people that are in it, I can't speak for everybody else, but I can speak for myself. When I was in the middle of it, I was trying to hide it. You think no one else can see you, but everyone can. I mean, and that addiction, once it gets a hold of you, it's hard to let go of it. You shouldn't be doing it. The better way, but you also know that addiction has got you. The one piece of advice I would say is just get help, because you can't do it on your own. Once it gets that deep, you can't do it by yourself, and a lot of people think they can, and you can't. You need help. Reach out, and there's help out there. That's the thing. It's like anyone can do it if they choose to.
That's the main thing. What I would say, you need to want to do it. Like, if you don't want to do it, there's, if you're happy, you're happy. You're just gonna drink yourself to death or drag yourself to death, and that's it. Like, but if you want to help, if you really want to, you can do it. Like, you can do it.
I mean, yeah, there's only two things that are gonna happen. You're either gonna die or you're gonna get better. And for me, I don't know if luck is the word, but ending up in the hospital. I mean, I did rehab, I did all that, I did the detox, and that got me clean, but I wasn't ready to get clean yet. Like, obviously I relapsed. And after that stint in the hospital, I remember the doctor told me, he's like, I don't know how you're walking out of here. I don't know how this is even possible, but he said, I do know one thing, and if you drink again, you're gonna die. And that was coming from a doctor who was with me that whole time in the hospital. So once I heard that, like, it doesn't even cross my mind anymore. I know it's not an option, and I know it's not even something that crosses my mind anymore. So yeah, I'm grateful, I'm lucky, whatever word you want to tag. Every day I wake up, even 10 years later, I'm still reminded of it. When I brush my teeth, when I shave, stuff I couldn't do before, now I'm doing again. So yeah, it doesn't take much for me to check myself.
But you came out on the other end. You have your family now, and you're a happy man, and so proud of you, man.
Yeah, every day. And that's, we backtrack to the whole mindfulness thing. It's like, there's days you wake up and, the word happy it's an everyday thing. Like, for me, it's not like, oh, once I get here, I'm in Hawaii, now I'm just going to be happy. Happiness is something you strive for every day, and you actually don't even really strive for it. You just wake up, do your thing, try to do the next right thing, one step at a time for me. Because if I get too far ahead of myself or too far back and thinking about things, that's when I get myself jammed up. So I'm really about being in the moment and staying present and staying at the task at hand. Otherwise, like I said, I get jammed. And I'm never going to be one of those people that says not drink. I'm not one of those guys that like go on a campaign and say don't drink, don't do the choices. Some people can handle it. I couldn't. It was in my blood. It was in my DNA. That it's like it's like a, what do they call it? They had a word for it in rehab. I remember it's like a virus. And for drinking was my like little virus. I couldn't do it responsibly. I couldn't just have that one sip. It turned into like a whole ordeal.
Yeah. Well, I call it a demon. Like I have a little demon in me that, you know, I try to keep him down, you know, and then the demon comes out, like, you know. And my wife even says that she see the moment that my one of the eyes start changing, like, you know. So like, yeah, one of the eyes starts getting bigger, and like, you know, I just stop being myself. But the same thing that they say actually, that it's actually a demon attached to you, you know. They say that the alcohol, it was actually demon. I think it was in Islam, alcohol, and they say basically, and that's why it's called spirit also, you know?
Oh, right.
Because it's a demon, it's a spirit that attaches to you and, you know, makes you drink and makes you do bad things. And, you know, I'm big into spiritual things, like, you know. So yeah, that's where I found out that out, like, you know. So I try to keep my demon, you know.
Yeah, mine's
down.
Locked up. I can't even. And people can drink around me. I have no problem with people. It doesn't make me want to like, ooh, I gotta have a drink now. It doesn't bother me like that. So yeah, to each their own. To do what you want to do, but I know for me it doesn't work.
So then you started your podcast. Was the podcast the way of meeting new people, or the way of trying to help other people? What was the idea behind your podcast?
Well, it started like, well, it probably started a year or two ago. I've had people because as a teacher, I used to do like professional developments with people, like our teaching community and stuff, and I wouldn't get into like my story so much, but I actually ended up telling my story a few times, and it kind of blew people away. And I had a lot of people coming up to me and saying, hey, I'm glad I listened to you talk, and thanks for telling your story, and I think I have a problem, or they admitted that they do have a problem, or, you know, just things like that. And it made them realize that they're not alone. I mean, we all have our struggles, whether it's mine happen to be alcohol, but everyone has their own struggles. But a lot of times we try to hide them and try to hide behind them. And then so I had people say, oh, you should write a book, or you should do a podcast. They're not, you know, it's nothing I really thought of. I said, okay, maybe. And then when I moved here, my wife encouraged me to do it. So she was like the big impetus behind me actually, you know what, let me do it. And so I just started doing it, and I just started talking, and it just kind of turned into what it is. It's I don't like using the word self-help. That's kind of a catchphrase now that's popular, but it's just like me talking, and if someone can get something from it, then to me, that's all that matters. And I've already had enough people reach out after listening to the podcast saying, hey, that particular episode, you know, struck a chord with me, or the other episode did this for me. And so, yeah, it is therapeutic for me too. I'll just come up here where I'm at right now and talking to this exact same microphone. I don't have anything scripted. I don't write anything down. I just kind of have an idea in my head that I might want to talk about, and I hit record and just start going. So it helps me too.
What's your plans for the future?
For the future, just continue to try to get better every day. Like, I'm newly married, been married since, when did we get married? In August 27th. I've never been married before, so it's...
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's a whole new experience for me. So I'm learning something new every day. And the biggest thing I'm learning is that it's not all about me. Like, there's someone else you got worry about. There's other people, so it's not just about me, and it's a dance. Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, she learned something about me, I learned something about her, and you learn how to communicate better. You learn how to leave people alone better. Like, there's sometimes you just need your space. She might need, you know what I mean? So for me, I just want to keep getting better. I'll fall down, I'll get back up. I want to keep getting better though. So, and that just means being a better person.
Look upon this grave and read the name. Beth Snow can't douse the flame. Fact remains, the years always change. Who's taking the blame? It's my loss and your gain. Sun's always shining when the tears fall down. Don't make a sound while I raise this crown. You ain't knowing me, so wipe your grin. It's time for love, time for sin. Pass the gin, now let's rewind back to a time before there was pain. When you raised us with love and made a fool of the rain. You had no time to play the victim, just a queen. just a dream, I can't replay the scene. All I hear is screams right before I weep. I got demons running through my sleep, keeping me away from a path that leads back to a time before I saw my heart bleed. I got demons running through my sleep. They like to creep when my thoughts get deep, scheming, trying to find a place to fit in. It manifests itself in the form of a sin. I got demons running through my sleep. They like to creep when my thoughts get deep, scheming, trying to find a place to fit in. It manifests itself in the form of a sin. It's been 20 years, still the pain remains. I can't find a day when the thoughts refrain. Just another victim of a life that's gone. Can we replace what's already been done? I set the deuce by my bed at night, just in case I might find a time that's right. Frightening thoughts consume my everyday, unless I make the time to kneel down and pray, and wish I may find the strength I need to withstand the demons that plant the seed, control the need to turn this light to black, and help me understand I got more chips to stack. Practice fundamentals, get back on my feet. The game is never done, you either lose or compete, keeping me away from the path that leads back to a time before I saw my heart bleed. I got demons running through my sleep. They like to creep when my thoughts get deep, scheming, trying to find a place to fit in. It manifests itself in the form of a sin. I got demons running through my sleep. They like to creep when my thoughts get deep, scheming, trying to find a place to fit in. It manifests itself in the form of a sin. Time to wipe this slate clean and start from scratch. Pick up the broken pieces, find my match. I don't wanna sit back and wait for life to pass me by before I clip the strife. Find me a wife and maybe have some kids. Teach them all the things that my dad never did. Hug them, kiss them, tuck them in at night. Remind them don't never let the bed bugs bite. I wish I may, I wish I might find me the key to get through the night. Relinquish the group that kept me still too long, and finally stand strong above the rights and wrongs. The teachers and the preachers never taught me this. I had to go it alone and check it off my list. I can always go back and dig myself a hole, or stand back and hope that God can truly save my soul. I got demons running through my sleep. They like to creep when my thoughts get deep, scheming, trying to find a place to fit in. It manifests itself in the form of a sin. I got demons running through my sleep. They like to creep when my thoughts get deep, scheming, trying to find a place to fit in. It manifests itself in the form of a sin.